They didn't warn us. They didn't give us a countdown. They didn't let us say goodbye. One morning, WWE just ripped two of the most physically dominant, most terrifying, most absolutely unhinged superstars off your television screen, and they did it with a cold, calculated announcement that felt more like a funeral notice than a news update. Adam Pearce walked up to that microphone, looked the entire WWE universe dead in the eyes, and essentially said these men are done. And just like that, Bronson Reed, Bron Breaker, gone. If you are not furious right now, you haven't been paying attention. Slow the pace slightly. Let the weight of the moment sink in. Let's talk about what just happened, because the WWE Universe deserves the full picture, not the watered-down, PR-approved version that WWE wants you to swallow quietly. We're going all the way in today. We're talking about what Adam Pearce actually said, what these injuries really mean, how long we could potentially be without these two absolute monsters, and most importantly what this does to the entire landscape of WWE programming going forward. Because make no mistake about it, this isn't just losing two guys off the roster. This is losing two pillars, two men who were being positioned, whether you realized it or not, to carry some of the heaviest storylines in WWE for the foreseeable future. And now, all of that? Scrapped, rerouted, thrown into a blender. So buckle in, because this one is going to hurt. Segment 1: Adam Pearce's announcement. Let's start at the beginning. Adam Pearce, WWE's on-screen authority figure and one of the most recognizable executives in the company's current narrative structure, made the announcement that sent shockwaves rippling through the WWE universe almost instantly. Now, Pearce has had to deliver bad news before that's part of the role. But this felt different. This felt heavier. The announcement confirmed that both Bronson Reed and Bron Breaker have suffered injuries that will sideline them from in-ring competition. Now, the exact timelines are still being assessed, and we're going to get into what we know and what the legitimate reports are saying in just a moment, but the key word that came out of that announcement, the word that should be burning a hole through your brain right now, is both. Not one, both. At the same time, two of WWE's most physically imposing, most athletically gifted heavyweights out. Simultaneously. That is not a minor inconvenience. That is not something WWE can just patch over with a quick segment and a new challenger graphic. That is a seismic disruption, and anyone who tells you otherwise is not being straight with you. Segment 2: Bronson Reed, who he is and what he was building toward. Let's talk about Bronson Reed first, because if you've been sleeping on Bronson Reed, you have been doing yourself a disservice as a wrestling fan. This man is 6 feet tall, pushing 330 pounds, and moves like someone who made a deal with a force of nature. He is legitimately terrifying in the ring. His presence is undeniable. His power is absurd. And his in-ring work over the last couple of years has elevated him from a guy who seemed like he was just going to hover in mid-card purgatory forever into a legitimate main event threat. Remember the tsunami? Remember the moment Bronson Reed started dropping those top rope sentences on people and the entire crowd collectively lost their minds? That's not just a cool move. That's a statement. That's a man telling the world, I am not here to participate. I am here to destroy. Reed was building real momentum. He had heat. He had presence. He had the physical tools that WWE spends years trying to manufacture in developmental, and he came in already equipped with all of it. And now, just as the machine was really starting to click into gear for him, he's hurt. The nature of his injury is being closely monitored, but early indications suggest this is not a minor tweak. This is the kind of injury that forces a full stop. That forces rest. That forces a timeline none of us are happy about. And when you think about where Bronson Reed was in terms of his trajectory, the opponents he could have faced, the feuds that were quietly being lined up, it is genuinely gutting. WWE had something real with Bronson Reed, and right now, that something is on hold indefinitely. Segment 3: Bron Breaker, the future, injured before his time. Now, Bron Breaker. If Bronson Reed's injury is a serious blow, then Bron Breaker's injury is something closer to a catastrophe, and I don't use that word lightly. Bron Breaker is not just a promising young talent. Bron Breaker is the future of WWE. Capital T, capital F. There is no overstating this. This man is 20-something years old, built like a Greek myth come to life, and carries an intensity in the ring that you genuinely cannot coach. You either have it, or you don't. And Breaker? He has it in abundance. The son of Rick Steiner, the nephew of Scott Steiner, Bron entered WWE with a bloodline that demanded respect, but what he's done since arriving is blow past the expectations that came with that name. He has not been living in his father's shadow. He has been building his own legacy, brick by brick, spear by spear, and that rattlesnake-fast, high-impact style he brings to every single match is something that gets the crowd loud every single time. He was on a path. A clear, undeniable, championship-level path. And now that path has been disrupted by an injury that Adam Pearce confirmed is real, is serious, and is going to keep him away from that ring for a period of time that has not yet been fully defined. Do you understand how maddening that is? We were right there. WWE was right there with Bron Breaker. The build was happening. The crowd was responding. The company was clearly investing in him as a long-term cornerstone piece. And now we have to wait. Again. How many times does the WWE Universe have to watch a star get built up, get momentum, start to connect and then get yanked away by injury before they get to truly capitalize? How many times? Segment 4: What this means for WWE's roster and programming. Here's where it gets even more complicated. Because you can't just remove Bronson Reed and Bron Breaker from the equation at the same time without feeling the ripple effects across the entire roster. Think about the heavyweight division. Think about the credible threats that exist on both Raw and SmackDown right now. Think about who the viable, believable, physically intimidating monster-type opponents are for the top champions. That list just got significantly shorter. Significantly. And it's not just about the title picture. It's about balance. It's about depth. It's about having enough bodies, enough credible bodies to fill programming in a way that feels meaningful. WWE runs multiple premium live events every single year now. They need people. They need stars. They need men and women who can step into a main event or semi-main slot and make the crowd believe. Losing Reed and Breaker simultaneously creates a vacuum. And vacuums, in professional wrestling, are always filled but not always filled well. Sometimes the replacement is inspired. Sometimes it's creative necessity forcing the company to push someone they weren't quite ready to push yet. And sometimes it leads to rushed storylines, mismatched pairings, and programming that feels like it was assembled under pressure rather than planned with intention. WWE Creative is going to have to make some decisions. Fast. And those decisions are going to shape the next several months of television in ways that may not become fully clear until we're already living in them. Segment 5: The bigger picture, WWE's injury problem. And look, we have to have this conversation, because it keeps coming up and the WWE Universe keeps brushing it over it and moving on, and we cannot keep doing that. WWE has an injury problem. Has had one for years. And before anyone comes into the comments telling me this is just the nature of the business, yes, I know. Wrestling is physically brutal. Injuries are inevitable. Nobody is disputing that. But the frequency, the timing, the way that stars keep getting taken offline right at the peak of their momentum, that's worth examining. That's worth asking questions about. Because the schedule these performers operate under is relentless. The physicality demanded of them, night after night, show after show, is extraordinary. And when you push human bodies to their absolute limits on a consistent, unforgiving schedule, things break. Reed, Breaker, they're the latest names on a list that's gotten too long. And every time a new name gets added, the conversation quietly goes away after a few days because the show must go on and the next week's programming takes over and everyone moves on. Not today. Not on this channel. Today we're saying it clearly, WWE needs to take the health and longevity of its performers seriously in a way that is visible, measurable, and sustainable. Because the talent is the product. When the talent is broken down, the product suffers. And right now, two significant pieces of that product are sitting on the shelf. Closing call to action and sign off. So where does that leave us? It leaves us waiting. It leaves us frustrated. It leaves us watching WWE programming and wondering every single week when these men are coming back. When that music hits again. When Bronson Reed stands at the top of that ramp and the crowd feels that weight again. When Bron Breaker comes sprinting down the aisle and the entire arena wakes up in an instant. Because they will come back. That much, we can hold on to. These are not career-ending situations. These are setbacks. Painful, infuriating, terribly timed setbacks, but setbacks nonetheless. The question is what WWE does in the meantime. The question is whether they use this time wisely. Whether they build new stars, reinvest in overlooked talent, create new stories that matter, or whether they tread water and coast until their big names return. We're going to be watching. We're going to be right here, every single week, holding them accountable and covering every single update on both Bronson Reed and Bron Breaker as their recovery progresses. If you are angry about this, if this news hit you the way it hit us, drop a comment below. Tell me, which absence hurts more? Bronson Reed or Bron Breaker? I want to know. I need to know. Because this is the conversation the wrestling community needs to be having right now, and Ring Rumble 1 is the place to have it. Share this video. Send it to every wrestling fan you know. Because they deserve to know the full story, not just the highlight, not just the headline, but every single layer of what this means for WWE going forward. Like this video if you're riding with Ring Rumble 1. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we don't do surface level here. We go deep. Every single time. And we'll see you in the next one.